Welcome to the 19.9 podcast. I'm Aaron Meyer. My co-host is Josh Barnett, one of the owners of 19.9. As a duo, we are the High Volume Shooters, or HVS. You can find our blog under HVS on the 19.9 website, along with retro college apparel connected to the storied history of some of the most memorable college teams of all time. Let's get started with Fish. What's going on, Josh?
What's up, sir?
Well, it is the end of summer, and the perfect topic for the end of summer is playground basketball.
Yes, sir. Near and dear to my heart.
So I wanted to throw it to you and just kind of get opening statement. You said near and dear to your heart. Why?
Well, so I was driving. Actually, today I made it a point to drive past Golfmoor, the park I used to play at. Drove past there 3 different times, man. This was like prime time, playing time for us when we were growing up, before basketball season, into football season. None of us were really football players, the group that I played ball with. And so we were always at Golfmoor right after school, and I knew we were doing this podcast tonight. And so I drove past there just right after school and a couple times a little bit later on in the day just to see if anybody was up there hooping at Golfmoor.
Would you got out?
Man. Not a single goddamn person. So somebody loves playground and pick up basketball, as you'll hear through this podcast. You'll see my passion for it. That's a killer. And I've been past there all day and all summer in the last several summers too. And I just don't see anybody playing up there like we used to play, and it just makes me sad. So I ask you, is the playground game dead, or are we just getting old and we don't know the times that people play anymore? Is it still happening out there?
Well, it's both, but I think maybe it's mostly dead in the United States, and I think there's a pretty simple reason for it, and it's just 2 letters, AC, and I think that once every gym in the country got air conditioning, there was really no reason to go outside and play ball anymore. I remember growing up.
You're gonna make me mad, man. You're gonna make me mad.
But think about it. When I was growing up and when you're growing up, I guarantee every high school gym that you played in, even if it was pickup or summer runs with your high school team, none of them had air conditioning, and they were the sweatiest, most disgusting places in the world. And you go outside and you got a breeze and all kinds of things, and now every one of those places is air conditioned. Why would you go outside?
I think it's buddy ball, man. That's what I think. I think more so than the AC. I think it's this ushered in era of buddy ball.
Was that what, like with AAU and all that?
Absolutely. I don't think people want to get out there and compete like on the blacktop anymore. I just don't. I think you see it at our school with our kids. Our kids don't really compete. You more or less team up with your buddies to run people that are smaller and worse than you. Nobody really goes heads up against best of the best, mano a mano. I feel like it's the buddy ball, man. I really do. I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah. You also have a more uncontrolled element at the park and just some different etiquettes at the park that maybe have the current generation has grown out of. I mean, think about even parks in general. Like, we used to go to the park on our own, or at least I did, and kids don't really even do that anymore.
Yeah, I know. And a lot of that, some of that, I mean, I have young kids too, 3 under the age of 10, and some of that is obviously security and safety and stuff. But like, I want my boys to go play at Golfmoor, but we just live right down the street from there now anyways. But if my dad and my mom was super protective and all that stuff too, and it was a little bit different era back then and age back then. But man, if my dad like pushed me to those playgrounds And because he knew there were grown ass men up there playing, you know what I mean? And so coming in, and he made me wait till I was an 8th grader. So it was basically my 8th grade summer going into my freshman year. And that's when I started going up there a lot. And then that summer of my freshman year, before football, or when football season was going and stuff, that's when Wes kind of took me under his wing, and we went up there every day after school. And then we met dudes from the other school. So Mater Dei was like our rival school, but we had buddies that were at Mater Dei. And so they just knew, and this is before the age of cell phones and stuff. I'm dating myself.
No text messaging.
No text messaging. You know, if you want to talk to somebody, you had to call and go through their mom to get them on the phone. But we just knew, like, listen, man, we're going to be there. Me and Wes will be there every day, 3 o'clock. You know the deal. It's a 7-game series. We play to 20, switch at 10. And, I mean, I still know this. I'm 39 years old, and I just, back when I was 14, 15 years old, still know it by heart. And losers buy the Cokes at the end. So we'd all go to a gas station at the end, and you'd have to either buy a Coke or a slushie or some shit at the gas station. And of course, I won all the time because I had Wes on my team.
I love it. No, that reminds me that we used to shoot half-court shots after the game, too, for sodas, too. And obviously the winners had to buy – we did snacks. The winner or the losers had to buy snacks. But
I love it. I love it. And that was back when, like, gas was like 99 cents and, like, slushies were like 50 cents. But it was the pride of winning. It had nothing to do with what you got. Yeah. But speaking of half-court shots, I got a quick playground story for you since we're going to get into it. But this is one I don't even have written down on my sheet. But okay. I remember me and Wes, we used to, and I told you I would talk a lot about Wes on these, especially if we started talking about playground and Golfmoor and all that stuff. But Wes and I used to help Coach Adams up at Wrights at his camps in the summer, you know, with the little kids. I don't even think Coach Adams knows this. So, Coach, if you're listening, I apologize. But I don't think I've ever told him about this. I will tell him about it, though. So anyway, we're up there and we're helping out, and he gets – you remember Wilson Jets, right?
Of course.
Wilson Jets were like the shit of all basketballs. I mean, like, that was legit. You had a Wilson Jet that you carried around to indoor basketball places. Like, that was the money ball. So anyways, Coach Adams had just gotten in like 3 racks of these Wilson Jets, and we had helped him all summer with the camps, or I think it's the first part of the summer, but whatever. And so at the end, he gives us, Wes and I, a Wilson Jet, one of the fresh ones, like the brand new ones, like pulled the plastic off of it. Like, here, you guys, I know you guys.
Real leather.
What's that?
Real leather, too, I'm sure.
Real leather, 100%. Wasn't that pleather stuff. So he says, this is it. You know, here it is. I know you guys play all the time in summer. I know you guys play one-on-one. I know you guys, you know, you find a gym, you get into it. This is your ball. Just bring it back to me. At the end of the summer, you guys can have this as your indoor ball. So we get in Wes's car, which was called the White Knight. It was like this white Cutlass. It was awesome, but not awesome at the same time. And so we drive down to Howe, and we get down there and we realize we don't have another ball. So we're at Howe, which is another park on the west side, just asphalt. And so within 10 minutes of having this ball, that bitch is on the playground again.
Oh my God, you destroyed it.
No, it gets worse. So then we get bored or we get hot. I can't remember what it was. So then we start shooting full court shots with this thing, like throwing baseball heaves at the goal. And then that turned into, well, can you punt it and hit and hit a full court shot? And so then we couldn't hit it, obviously, kicking it. So then we said, okay, listen, it's $1 if you hit the backboard. It's $5 if you hit the rim. And then it's $20 if you would make one. And I bet we kicked that ball back and forth probably 350 times. So then we get back in his car. We're done with that, right? This thing's looking pretty beat up. And we get back in the car. We go to my house and play on my half court. And we get towards the end of one game. I don't remember much about it. I just remember him and I shot an air ball, and I lived on a hill. So this thing just ran down the bottom of the hill. And at the bottom of the hill, there was like this like woods. And one of us shot an air ball. The ball went all the way to the bottom of the hill. We both looked at each other, turned around, walked inside, never went and got that ball. That ball could still be down there.
I'm
That all
sure it is.
happened.
It's got to be.
That all happened within an hour and a half of getting that ball.
It's such a kid thing to do.
So again, that's why I apologize, Coach Alves, before I told the story. I'll apologize again. I'm sorry, Coach. I'll get you a Wilson jet, man.
You won't because they're not the real leather ones anymore. You'll just be
I
getting
know.
a cheap leather one.
I'll get on eBay. I'll try to find a vintage one.
Okay, before we get into more stories, I gotta know what your outdoor basketball etiquette in. You named a couple of rules about what the winners or what the losers have to pay, and just some of the scoring, rules.
So Golfmoor was it pretty much for me. I mean, we would travel around. Wes and I would travel around, and some other guys, Claiborne's and some other people would get in there and travel around to play a different course. And I can't really remember what it was and how it differentiated around the city as much because we spent so much time over Golfmoor. But Golfmoor was a short court, so the free throw lines, the half courts matched up against each other. So there was no half court. It was just the top of the key up against the top of the key. So it was really short. You played 4-on-4. So you either had to be an amazing slasher like Wes was, where he could just kind of knife through the lane. He was athletic, he could jump, strong, and all that stuff. Or you had to be able to shoot from the outside, or you weren't really going to score. But there was one goal that led towards the woods, faced towards the woods, or his back was to the woods, I should say. That was a little bit lower and a little bit friendlier. And then the goal that was towards the parking lot was like rock hard rim. So you got no rolls. So the strategy was if you got ball first, or if you got to choose whether you wanted ball or if you wanted which way you wanted to go. And so the strategy there was don't take the ball first, take the goal, and you take the rock hard goal for your first 10 points. And the strategy was keep it close during the first 10 points, and you only played ones there. It's all ones. So keep it close in there, stay within 3-4 points, because then you were going to get the friendly bounce, the friendly roll on the other goal, and you could make a comeback, and you were in good shape there. So we played the 20 by ones, and you switched at 10.
Nice.
How about you?
Yeah. I think there's some basic things that I heard a story that, where was it? It was somewhere that Ray Allen was playing pickup, and these guys asked him to jump in, and his first question was, "You hack?" And I love that as a starting point for playground basketball because my first question that I should have asked is this going to be like fun basketball? Because playground could be the best, but if you got the wrong mix of people, it can just be a total train wreck where it's just like hacking and arguing and dudes playing in jeans and backwards hats.
That's playground basketball, though. That's what it's about, man.
I mean, it is. And when you're a kid, it's different because you can show up every day. And I think that the etiquette thinking about, it's hard for me to differentiate between like what you were saying, like the ability to just show up at 3 with your buddy and it didn't matter because you could just play one-on-one or whatever. You just wanted to hoop. And like now where I would just have to, I don't think I'd go out. The last time I went outside and played, there was just like some weird, sketchy characters, and I can see why people don't do it anymore. You know?
Listen. I've jotted down notes on 4 or 5 stories. Let me just give you a brief synopsis on these guys. One of them involves a bow and arrow being pulled on somebody. One of them. That same story is going to be verified by a dude called Magic that we named Magic.
Can't wait. Yeah.
There's a barefoot dude that I played against at Howe. There's a story at Howe involving a dude named Bud Boy, who nobody knows how he got that name. And then there's another story that involves a crackhead at Westman's Park playing pickup ball too. So everything that you just described, like all of my greatest playground stories revolve around that type. Those dudes.
Right.
That's what made it awesome.
No, I know. I agree, but it's just that's why when you said earlier, like it's just maybe it's just a different time, you know. I just don't know if it's. Like I wish I could say there's a way to bring it back, but I'm not sure.
And I'm not talking, I think maybe a little clarity on the AAU and the buddy ball statement that I made earlier. I mean, I don't really expect those guys that are 4 and 5 stars that have college scholarships lined up and all that stuff. And, those guys, so much now is seen as branding yourself and all of that and taking precautions to not get hurt. And I respect all that. Like if you're at that level, you have to do what you have to do to protect the bag, so to speak. But, for somebody like myself, and I'm assuming for somebody like you too, because I've seen you look about like what I look like.
Yeah.
There wasn't no 4 or 5 stars behind our names.
No, definitely not.
But
in my mind,
for me to be a decent high school player, I would have never got there without Golfmoor and without the playground. Like I had nothing to lose, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And there has to be kids out there like that now that are decent players but could just get so much better by playing against the men that we played against. And the funny thing now is, like, we're the men now.
Yeah.
I just think there's such a connectivity with the playground. I might be going a little bit off topic here, but there was such a connectivity with the guys that I played up at Golfmoor where they would try to beat your ass. They would try to rough you up. You would get in some scuffles. I don't ever remember too many punches being thrown, especially with the high school kid and a grown man up there. I don't think ever happened. But then those guys would always come to the Wrights games and watch that and watch Wes and I play and the Claymores play and some of the other guys, Bradfield, would go up to Golfmoor with us and play up there. And I always felt like they had a sense of pride in what we put out on the court because they knew they played with us all summer and they knew that what they were doing for us on the playground was helping us become better there. And then we were better for our high school and our high school was better for what these guys did for us at Golfmoor. And we always didn't see eye to eye on stuff. And there were some hotly contested games, but I always felt like they took a great pride. And I'm almost sad that I'm missing out on that now because I'm still in good enough shape to go up there and play along with a lot of my buddies and some of those guys that I named earlier would love to go up there on a Sunday, 10-2 and knock out a few games with some high school kids and just connect with these dudes, and I just don't think it's there right now.
Yeah, it's not. Well, let's switch because bring it back to the old school and give me one of those stories, whichever one you want. I know the one I want to hear, but you pick which one you want to lead with.
Okay, so I told you guys I would tell you the bow and arrow story. And I told you guys I would try to find somebody before now and then, or then and now, that would verify my story because Wes, unfortunately, passed away earlier, like I had said on the previous podcast. I think I mentioned that anyways. And so he was my backup. That was my guy that was there with me, and we would laugh about it and all that stuff. And he would always reiterate and say, yeah, no, it's 100% true. But I did find my guy Magic, and he verified it. Did you ever figure out how to clip the audio?
I don't know. I can try to put it in later, or I've got the video up, and I can just try to play it. It might be a disaster.
Yeah, don't worry about that. We'll try to clip it in later.
All right, I'll put it in later.
And then if not, we can upload it. We'll upload it to the blog and push some people towards the podcast with it or something too. So, anyways, I was 8th grader up at Golfmoor. 8th grade summer, and I was guarding the legend, Chris Burfinger. And anybody listening to this that played up at Golfmoor knows who Burfinger is. The guy was just the GOAT. I mean, he was the greatest dude up there, period. If you saw him now, if you saw him then, he's probably 5'7", Fu Manchu, cut off T-shirt. And I'm talking about this guy probably on that short court, and I already described how the court was. I bet in a day of ball, 4 hours of ball, that dude probably ran 37 miles up on that short court, like running you off screens and shit. I mean, the dude was just unbelievable. Left hand, right hand, like his passes looked the same as a shot, so you never even knew if he was passing. Dude, you had no idea. One hand. 1 foot, he would run 6, 7, 8 feet past like on a reverse layup, And so he would be, I mean, a good 8 feet away and throw it behind his head off the backboard. The dude could just give you the business. So, anyways, I'm guarding him. That's my point of telling the Chris Burfing story. But you can't talk about Golfmoor without talking about Burf, man.
Yeah.
So I'm guarding him, and my first run-in with Burf was a couple weeks earlier. We walk out there, and Wes is like, "Hey, man, you got Burf." And I'm like, "Who the hell is Burf?" He's like, "That dude." And I'll look at Chris, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, there's no problem here." And that guy proceeded to light my ass up. So now I'm on to his shit, though, and I'm on to him, and I'm in him, and so we're sitting there, and it's getting heated, and Magic actually knew the other guy that was in it. I thought it was a big dude named Dre, but he says a different name, and he would know because he's buddies with the guy. So they're getting into it, and there's some nasty screens being set, and one guy hits another guy in the balls on the screen. When he comes into that screen, he just punches him, below the belt. And that led to Chuck. Chuck was the one that hit the guy in the balls. And then Chuck gets punched back of the head. Those guys. This is it. Now, this has been going on for 5, 6, 7 possessions now, where they're seeking each other out to set screens on each other. So Chuck just stops dead in his tracks. Game stops because a punch was thrown. And like I said, that was very, very, very rare up at Golfmoor. Besides that time, I don't really think I ever saw it. It came close a lot, but never really to that point.
It's supposed to come close, though. That's
the
whole point, right?
Always, right? You belly up, and then people separate it, and then it's kind of like the kids when we have to separate kids and stuff. You kind of question, like, do they really want to fight? Probably not. You know what I mean?
Hold me back.
Chuck stops dead in his tracks. Doesn't make a move. Just stops. Like, literally stops. And I'm like, damn, how did he, not react? How did he not react to that? Like, you see people get punched, it's all hell breaks loose. He literally stops, no emotion, turns on a dime, walks to his pickup truck. Pickup truck was in the first parking spot. I can remember it clear as day. Reaches into the back of his thing. I thought he was getting a gun, honestly. I thought he was pulling out a shotgun.
Jesus.
For sure.
Were you frozen or running?
Me?
Yeah.
I was just standing next to Burf. I'm like, I'm standing next to the legend. Nobody's hurting the legend up there. Like, and Burf knows all these dudes too. And then plus, like, Wes was like my idol, my role model, like everything.
Yeah.
He's a classic, like, older dude took the younger dude under his wing, and I thought he was just cool as shit. And if he wasn't running, my ass wasn't running either. I was gonna stay and do whatever Wes was gonna do. So I was reading Wes, and I was reading Burf, and I was looking at Chuck. And he reaches in the back, and I'm like, I think it's got to be a shotgun, right? Everybody on the west side hunts except me. He's got to have a shotgun back there. Pulls out a bow and arrow. So I said, oh, shit, this is going to get interesting here because I've never seen anybody pull a bow and arrow on anybody else in my entire life, let alone during a pickup basketball game, let alone – these dudes are in their like mid-30s to almost 40 years old at this point. I mean, I'm talking about these dudes all have families and stuff.
No doubt.
Waiting for them at home, right?
I saw Magic on the video, and I'll verify that. I was like, dude, how old was he at the time?
Magic Man was like 37. He said when he stopped playing, and that was probably one of the 6 or 7 times that I played with Magic up there before he disappeared and didn't play anymore. So it had to be in that age range there, give or take a few years.
Yep.
And so he walks up to the big dude, and he just puts the arrow into the bow and loads it up and just puts the arrow in the back of this dude's neck and pulls the string back. And that guy didn't even react, man. Was just bent over, hunched over, had his hands on his knees, kind of like he was like tired, And he just shakes his head and looks at Chuck, and he just says, like, what are you going to do, man? You're going to shoot me with a bow and arrow? I mean, that was it. Like, and everybody else just kind of frozen, just watching, like, man, what is going on here? And that
was probably the right response at the time.
No doubt. And Chuck says, like, I don't give a shit. I'll shoot you. Like, I don't care. I'll shoot you. You're a lot bigger than me out here. You punch me. I'll shoot you. He's like, I don't care. And so I'm saying, like, okay, well, maybe he is going to – maybe he will shoot him. Shit, I don't know. And so then Burf, who I'm guarding, remember I'm just an 8th grader. I'm not old at all. I've never seen that. This is maybe like the 10th time I played up at Golfmoor total at this point. And I don't think I even told my parents about this because I was afraid they'd never let me go back.
They wouldn't have.
Yeah, right. Like I would as a parent now.
Yeah.
So the thing I remember the most, even more so than bow and arrow, was Burfinger, who never says anything. I mean, he's really just a quiet dude, great dude, just a quiet dude. And he says, and Chuck was his best friend. He says, "Well, shit, Charlie, at least give him a running start." So then everybody laughs.
It's over then, right?
Point, as he's saying that, people are moving towards Chuck, like, put the bow and arrow away. Goes, puts it back in his truck. Game resumes.
No. Oh, my God.
Doesn't shut anything down, man. We played it out. Have no idea what happened after that. No idea who won. I know that those guys did not get in another fight or a squabble after that at all.
Wow.
They just went and played, and that was that.
Incredible, man.
That's it. That's my bow and arrow story.
Well, dude, I think we're gonna have to let's cut this into 2 parts because I think we're getting close to a good spot to stop. But I want to get some 19.9 info here. So I think we're gonna call this the 19.9 minute because this is a lot of the time when I'm finding out about some information, some stuff that's coming out. But I'm always excited to hear about what's coming up or what I should be looking out for.
Yeah, I want to tease a couple things. First of all, though, the main question I'm getting is when the restock for the shorts are coming. So a lot of people are waiting on Nova, Marquette, Michigan State shorts, so on and so forth. So those should be back in stock. They're starting to trickle in now. I've got a couple pairs that just came in today. So those are going to be trickling in this week, and they'll be back up online next week. So, depending on when we get this podcast out, it might already be past that time. But the restocks are coming. We do have 2 big schools coming this fall. I just placed the order today for 2 monsters. I can't tell which 2, but there's 2 monsters out there. And if you follow us on social media, you probably picked up on what 2 schools those are. So those are coming. And then we have 2 big collaborations coming up too this fall and winter with some people that are well versed in the basketball community and also in the sneaker community. So take from that what you will. I can't give away all my secrets on this thing.
Yeah. Plug your social medias. What should people be following?
Yeah.
Where are you most active?
I would say we're for sure most active on Instagram. So we're just at 99 on Instagram, and then Twitter too is at 99_threads. But we are by far the most active on our Instagram account. So like us on there and follow us along. We'll drop some hints and stuff, and you'll get some previews to some products coming up and all that stuff. Plus some basketball history, some hardwood history on there too.
Perfect, man. I think we'll stop it there. I love the story. I'll get Magic Man in there with that audio, and we'll come back for part 2. Get a couple more of your stories, and I'll jump in there with a few of my own.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you for listening to the 19.9 podcast with HVS, the High Volume Shooters. For more information, check out the blog at 19.9.com under HVS. And while you're there, do yourself a favor and pick up some retro college shorts. Till next time.